Tonight, we're not just reporting stories, we're tracing a cultural current that runs from festivals' red carpets to kitchen stoves, from ballparks to Super Bowl. A Puerto Rican film makes its world premiere at Tribeca. A chef in Houston turns mofongo into edible rebellion. Francisco Lindor and Ayden Owens-Delerme prove athletic excellence is Boricua DNA. And oh yes, Bad Bunny just got announced as the headliner for the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show, the first entirely in Spanish. That's just not music, it's history. And maybe a little panic for people who still think subtitles are a conspiracy. You might have heard Bad Bunny, the Puerto Rican global superstar, is officially the Super Bowl halftime headliner, the first artist to do so entirely in Spanish. Yes, the world's most famous American sport event has just picked a Spanish showstopper, and the internet reacted, some with excitement, many with confusion, a few with constitutional panic. So tonight, let's parse what this means, what people are saying for and against it, and whether residency fatigue was just a rumor. And just in case you missed it, on September 28, 2025, the NFL, Apple, and Roc Nation announced Bad Bunny will be the halftime lead for Super Bowl 26 at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. Now, he's the first artist to headline the Super Bowl performed entirely in Spanish. He accepted it as a moment not just for a performance, but representation. Quote, "This is for my people, my culture, our history," end quote. Fun trivia, he got the call while working out. He responded by doing 100 pull-ups. Yes, 100 pull-ups. Now, nothing about this is without precedent. Halftime shows have become keyboards for cultural commentary. Not just loud music, but this is the most explicit cross-lingual moment yet. And what's at stake? Symbolism, yes, but also viewership, backlash, racial anxiety, and the questions of fit. So let's get started. Representation on the global stage. The Super Bowl draws 100+ million viewers. That's not a concert in San Juan. This is a football field level national address. To see Boricua Spanish stand at center stage, this is seismic. Cultural normalization. When songs like Despacito or Tusa broke charts, they were novelty bridges. Bad Bunny headlining in Spanish says, we're not novelty. Market logic meets identity. The NFL didn't pick him as a favorite. He's among the most streamed artists in the world. Raising wise, he's a safer bet than let's hope they like merengue. A political statement by default. He avoided the U.S. tour stops due to concerns over ice raids, which itself is performance arts. Now he's stepping onto the U.S. soil as a center of an American spectacle. Critics say, yeah, he's a sellout. But part of the resistance is infiltrating that stage. Let's not pretend he is universally adored. Okay? Language barriers, a common critique, how many viewers will understand the lyrics? Some ask whether subtitles will scroll in the stadium. Yes, people are actually saying that. But here's the thing, low transparency. During Latin acts in the US TV, subtitles are inconsistent. They normally don't say what they're actually saying on the TV. Now, will they become mandatory? Cultural discomfort and xenophobia. Already pundits have attacked the choice. Megyn Kelly called it out, saying it's a political provocation, framing English as a default. The Daily Beast conservative commentators have questioned Bad Bunny's patriotism, even falsely suggesting that he's an immigrant. He is not. He was born in Puerto Rico. He's a U.S. citizen. The backlash isn't new. It's just louder now. And now you have threats of ICE at the Super Bowl, literally policing the space. They've actually said that they will be there in droves for the Super Bowl. ICE will be in attendance, but they're not paying for their tickets. Now, alienating core, English-speaking viewers. Some fans are dismayed or even feel excluded. Some saying, imagine fumbling Taylor Swift for this, which she did suggest or was hinting at in one of the podcasts with her husband earlier this season, with their brother, Kelsey, that she might be headlining the Super Bowl. Now, somebody else said that this is a disgrace. Some NFL fans argue they just want rock, pop, spectacles, not politics. Now, this risk of novelty, is this a risk novelty fatigue? Now, if it's treated as symbolism over substance, you get a show with spectacle, but hollow cultural impact. The real test, does the production lead into identity authentically or cloak it in glitter? So here's where I land. This moment is inherently contradictory, and that's okay. To potential critics, this is a reputation of English audiences. It's expansion. To the skeptics, this isn't harmless splash, it's risky. The backlash might be fierce, but the best art sits in that tension. If he leans fully into Spanish, he's saying no apology required. If he shades in English or translates, he's acknowledging the bridge. I suspect he'll do more than lip sync these hits. He'll bring activism energy, visuals, climate of migration references, because he doesn't shy from that. He might even use the stage to demand more for Puerto Rico. So here's your future watching list. Set choices, well, he'll do Saferia or MIA, new songs, surprise features, who knows and who cares? It's going to be in Spanish. Visuals, Puerto Rican flags, map motif, diaspora, more that you see at the airport in San Juan. Audience framing, will the show include subtitles, dual language cues, audience performances? No, because people are on Spotify right now memorizing all them songs in Spanish. Reactions, where the cheering be the loudest? Miami, Houston, or Philly? I think it's going to be Orlando right now. Political heat, will pundits denounce it? They already have. Will networks skip it? They can't, because it's so avid to Jimmy Kimmel. Where advertisers flinch? No. Every 30-second set has been sold out, going from $7 to $8 million. You cannot buy a commercial for the Super Bowl. Lasting legacy. Will this break the ceiling for Spanish language performances? Or become a one-time novelty? We'll see. I'm betting this will escalate, because art at this scale only matters if it continues pushing the conversation after halftime, not just during Bad Bunny Super Bowl. So the show isn't just a concert, it's a cultural thesis statement. It says we exist, we resonate, we demand space, and if the world can't handle Spanish at 30 million decibels, it's not us who must shrink. Let them catch up. Our next story tonight is something rare, something you don't often hear in the same sentence. Puerto Rican film and world premiere at Tribeca. Yes, at this year's festivals, a Puerto Rican film called Esta Isla by Lorraine Molina and Cristian Carretero made its U.S. premiere. It's not some sort of glossy postcard cinema that says, oh, here's a beach, here's a piñata, please buy a flight. No, Esta Isla is about belonging, loss, and the magnetic pull of home. It's a personal, it's painful, and it's ours. The director put it beautifully. We wanted it to feel small enough to be personal, big enough to hold the diaspora in one frame. And that line matters, because for decades, Puerto Rican stories all on screen have been boxed into two genres: natural disaster porn, or look, Ricky Martin is shirtless again. But don't get me wrong, we all appreciate Ricky Martin, but surely there's more to the Puerto Rican experience than storm damage or abs. And that's what Esta Isla is doing, refusing the cliches. It doesn't show Puerto Rico as a salsa or sadness, but as something more complicated: grief and grace, fatigue and stubborn hope, which is exactly why this moment is important, because in the film, exposure is everything. But in culture, authenticity is everything. And if you want a sense of how hard that is to balance, just remember the last time Hollywood tried to tell a Puerto Rican story. It was the West Side Story, a film authentically Puerto Rican, so authentically Puerto Rican that the first version didn't even bother to cast an actual Puerto Rican. Yeah, authenticity, not exactly their thing, but what's happening now is different. Filmmakers like Molina and Carretero aren't waiting to be invited. They're writing our stories for us and then forcing the world to watch. And yes, it matters that it's Tribeca, because Tribeca is just not a film festival, it's a megaphone. When it gets premiered, it gets exported to everywhere, to critics, to Netflix, to classrooms. So if you're asking why one indie film is a big deal, is because visibility is political currency. And when a film like Esta Isla screens, Puerto Rico stops being a headline about bankruptcy, hurricanes, or Bad Bunny's latest concert, which we still talk about, it becomes something richer, a place where human stories are told with dignity. Leaning in now, come on now. So yes, maybe this just one film, but one film that Tribeca is not just screening, it's a statement. It's a statement we're not waiting for Hollywood to get us right. We'll get us right, and you can keep up. And that, frankly, is the kind of takeover that deserves more headlines than any Netflix reboot. Baseball isn't just a pastime for Puerto Ricans. It's basically a second bloodstream. If you cut open a Boricua, you'll find red blood cells, white blood cells, and at least one tiny Roberto Clemente sliding into second. And right now, few people embody that bloodstream more than Francisco Lindor. Yes, the New York Mets shortstop whose smile is basically as famous as his batting average. But there's one thing: Lindor isn't just another star. He's a megaphone. No, not literally. That would be ridiculous. Though, frankly, if you handed him one in the dugout, he'll probably still look cool. No, I mean a cultural megaphone. Because while his stats make the sports pages all field, Lindor is sponsoring youth clinics, investing in Boricua nonprofits, and speaking openly about language, heritage, and pride. One coach said about him, when the Lindor steps to the plate, a dozen kids in Orlando think that could have been me. And that's not hype. That's the math of representation. When you see someone who looks like you, who sounds like you, succeeding at the highest level, that's a mirror. And sometimes a mirror is more powerful than a highlight reel. And Lindor isn't alone. Take Ayden Owens-Delerme. The decathlete born in Pennsylvania, but repping Puerto Rico on the world stage. He just won a silver medal at the 2025 World Athletics Championship. So in 1 week, you can see Lindor fielding grounders in Queens, Owens-Delerme vaulting over bars in Tokyo, and together, we're telling the world something important. Puerto Rico identity isn't confined to San Juan. It's athletic, it's intellectual, it's spiritual, it's everywhere. And that's the point. Diaspora isn't distance, it's expansion. And every time Lindor cracks a double or Owens-Delerme clears a hurdle, they're not just scoring points. They're making the case that Puerto Rican possibility is as endless as the sport themselves. Now, from the silver screen to the sauté pan, because Puerto Rico culture is nothing but, if not versatile, let's talk about food. Meet Chef Marisol Rivera. She's quietly rewriting the menu in Houston, which, by the way, is not a city known for subtlety. This is a town that if your barbecue isn't the size of a futon, you're doing it all wrong. But Rivera isn't interested in size, she's interested in identity. Take her mofongo, traditionally gold garlicky and delicious, but she makes it green with cilantro or purple with ube. And no, that's not fusion, that's reclamation. A nod to ancestral Taino roots served with modern flair. And there's one thing, it works because the food is local, seasonal, unapologetically Puerto Rican, even if you're eating it while sitting next to someone scarfing down brisket tacos the size of their heads. Now, to be clear, they're not trying to bridge cultures. That phrase gets thrown around a lot in the food writing, usually by someone who thinks cilantro is too spicy. What Rivera is doing is bolder. What she's saying is, this is culture and it's everywhere. Not a sampler platter, and it's not a exotic detour. Culture as a main course at the diners and with a polite hesitation. Because let's be honest, Texas is not where you used to go to. You go to mofongo that looks like a fall out of a crayon box, but they come back again and again with banquetas de Boricua on their lips. That's the thing about food. It may not change the world, but it changes the room. And in Rivera's restaurant, every dish is a 5-star argument for identity. Because when you take something as humble as plantains, mash them up, season them, reimagine them, and put them in front of a diner in Houston, you're just not serving up dinner. You're serving a notice. So tonight, whether it's film reels, baseball diamonds, or dinner plates, we've seen one truth. Puerto Rican stories are not side notes. They are the center stage, world-class and unapologetically ours. From Esta Isla on the big screen to mofongo reimagined in Houston to Lindor and Owens-Delerme, carrying the flags in stadiums around the world, this is who we are. Visible, powerful, and everywhere. I'm José Candelario, and this has been Puerto Rico Coast to Coast on Tuesday. When we come back, we pivot back to politics because culture thrives, but policy decides how long it lasts. Again, I'm José Candelario, and buenas noches.